Welcome back to the Beyond the Buckets. It's my pleasure and honor to bring on somebody I call a friend, somebody that I look up to in a lot of ways, NBA life optimization coach, future best-selling author, NBA skills coach, shooting coach. I mean, we can go on and on about the things that you're doing. David Nurse, welcome to the program.
Chris, I appreciate you big time, man. Thanks for having me on.
Man, so there's a lot of stuff we want to get to, and we'll probably have to do a couple of these, but I want to get to what you're doing right now. I want a passion project for you, a book that you were calling Pivot and Go, a pun on basketball, even though I'm sure it's not just about basketball. Tell me about the upcoming book and kind of what you got going on.
Oh, you're talking about this book, this shameless plug that I'm putting in for this book? If you watch it and you saw that Pivot and Go green book pop up. You know, it's interesting, Chris, that you said passion project, because honestly, it's not a passion project. It's a pivot into that as my passion. My passion is to encourage, is to motivate, is to help other people become the best versions of themselves that they can be. Because I've seen it happen in my life and how much joy it's brought to me. And honestly, what I've done with NBA players over the years is all geared towards how can they perform at their highest level when they step on the floor. But their highest level is not just skill set alone. Their highest level is their mindset, their confidence, their joy, the passion of being out there. So all this book is a culmination of stories from working with these players through my own travels over 50 countries and the things that I've been able to learn. And just really, it's about pivoting your perspective. Because there's always two ways to look at something. And this pivot and go is about making what I call mindset pivots. And they're just small little tweaks, little pivots that can change your entire perspective. Because change is daunting. Change is hard. Nobody wants to go through change because it's just tough. And you feel stuck in the mud where you're at. Whether you're an NBA player, whether you're the 9 to 5 in the office, it doesn't matter. We all go through those situations. So this book is a tool. It's broken up into 29 days. So 28 days is what it's said to make a habit. That's what a lot of people scientists, all those kind of smart guys say, make a habit, 28 days doing something. But habits are great. Routines are great. But on day 29, that's your choice to turn it into a lifestyle. Right. So I give 29 different tools, different small perspective mindset pivots that can lead you to redefining what your success is. Meaning it's not all about the success, whatever the glitz and glamour that everybody sees, the Instagram likes or anything like that, but your success in living in true joy. So that's a long-winded answer to what the book is about. Pick it up. August 4th is coming out.
Yeah,
there it is.
I'll definitely get a copy for myself, my family, and all my teams. So one thing that you mentioned on that, which I really respect, is day 29. You know, you talk about that decision process after that. There's a reason why diets don't work. There's a reason why, fast supplements that are supposed to turn you into, Superman or Superwoman don't work. It's exactly what you said. It's about the lifestyle changes that you make in order for you to reach your ultimate goal, whatever that is. If it's fitness, if it's business, if it's, education, whatever, it's really about that next step, okay? And creating a lifestyle that's going to benefit what your goals actually are. So tell me a little bit more about that process and how people would actually make that small pivot, but it's actually a big pivot once they've done the routine for so long and then continuing with that.
It's really good. And as you know, I break things down into the 1% mindset. Like my podcast is the 1% podcast. It's about those small pivots, those 1% steps daily that you could take. And honestly, like you can't make somebody do something that they don't want to do. So the first thing is, you have to want to make this change. You have to want to improve yourself. If you don't, then there's really nothing this book or anybody can really do for you. And as you say, like, hey, diets don't work, and it's true. Like, I hate that word. That word diet. It's like I don't let people say that word. Like, it's a term that just has a negative connotation about it. But day 29 is what I call relentless consistency.
Yeah.
Meaning you're going to do, or if you have a goal, you're going to do it. You're going to take a step, a 1% step every day, relentlessly consistent, whether you feel like it or not. If you can, at the end of the day, you can see that you improved in some area towards your goal 1%, think about the compounding effect that it has. Where will you be a year from now, 2 years, 5, 10 years from now? It's so powerful having that tool, because a lot of us will look at our goals and our dreams and we'll think, man, that's for someone else. Like that guy was the lucky few that got to do that. But no, that's not true. We can't do that. I mean, me and you are living proof of that, man. Like I grew up in a small town, middle of nowhere, cornfields, Iowa. Like no one gets out of those towns, like literally. But I had a goal and I had a mission, and I knew I was going to take steps to get there daily to make it happen. But in that same breath, as we talk about relentless consistency, is the relentless consistency and the self-belief that you have in yourself. Because we are all given a gift. I believe God has all given us a gift to be able to share with this world, not just for our own internal takes, but to give and to improve everybody else in this world. And you wake up in the morning with that decision, whether you're going to have what I call in the book, a foggy mirror, which is the self-doubt that's going to creep in. And we all have that. Every morning there's going to be something, but you have the ability to wipe away that foggy mirror, clear that mirror, affirm yourself in who you are, in those confident steps of who you're made to be, and know that, hey, it's going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. Nothing happens overnight. If something happens overnight for you, if you get great success overnight, trust me, it's going to burn out. Like you want that process. And if you enjoy that process and you enjoy that journey, then you're going to make it. You're going to make your goal, and it'll be a fun journey along the way. Like real quick, an example is my uncle. He's a coach for the Toronto Raptors. They just won the NBA championship. First year head coach. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, lightning struck here. He wins it in the first year. No, he's been coaching for 27 years in countries that people didn't even know played basketball. I was over there with him in England, and he's making the popcorn. He's taping guys' ankles, but he loved the journey. So 27 years to become an overnight success. So what I'm saying basically is you got to have your goal. You got to have your mission. Know it's going to take time. Don't worry. If you stumble and you fall, it's just you learning a different way to do it. We all stumble and fall, and know that it will happen, but enjoy that journey. Enjoy that process along the way.
Right. Two things that I want to touch on that you said. One, the foggy mirror. And that is a wonderful term. I'm going to steal that. The first time I'm going to give you credit. The second time it's all mine. But the foggy mirror. So one of the other guests that I had on, a coach, mentioned going into her players and say, hey, what type of mood are you going to be in today? Because if you come in with this sort of mood, well, it's going to significantly decrease your performance. But if you have that positive mind, I'm going to be great today, and I think that's what you're saying, is that foggy mirror can be, all the thoughts that we have in our head. And so if we're thinking, we can do this, even though it gets difficult, that is going to be something that you're going to need to overcome and, to reach your goals. And you also talked about there's going to be times where you kind of fall off. So, we've been talking about diet, but your diet, you mess up one day and it's like, oh man, it's over. Well, it's not really over. You make the decision the next day, like your 29th day, or as you mentioned, to make that small pivot and go, a pun for your book. So, I really appreciate those two things. And, all successful people understand that there is going to be a long process. Like you mentioned, your uncle, it's a 27-year process to get to where he got to. And now people see him with the NN Nike hat, the Nick Nurse hat. Everybody's trying to get it. And it's because he put in all those reps. And I always tell people this: you can't skip steps. You can't skip those steps, because every step that you're taking is one step closer to what your goal is. And I'm excited to dive through your book starting in August. Switching pivots.
Chris, can I say something on that point real quick? Because you brought up a really good point. Yeah. Is like, you're not always going to progress up. I mean, it's like the stock market. It's like anything. It's going to go through waves. And I tell people that you look at a door being closed. if one of your dreams, if the door just slams shut on you and is closed, that means there's 4 doors waiting to be opened in a whole beachfront patio property overlooking the ocean. That's what I say. Because for myself, I poured everything into playing in the NBA. And now you know me, like I can't hardly even touch the net. And I was playing in Spain in a second division that was more like Will Ferrell semi-pro, and I got cut. I literally, all my hopes and dreams got turned upside down on its head, rubbed in the dirt, and I was kicked to the curb with nothing. But that was a door closing, so the door to coaching and inspiring and motivating could open, and coaching in the NBA. So then I'm coaching in the NBA. I make that happen through these 1% steps. And we had great improvement in Brooklyn at the 3-point shooting. I'm like, all right, I'm in, man. I'm in for the long term. I'll be in the NBA forever coaching. And then the whole new staff comes in and I'm gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the door closed. My life's over. My dream's over. But that was a door closing for 4 more to open for me to be able to write, to speak, to coach players individually, total optimization, to meet my amazing wife out here in LA and live by the beach. Like if those doors didn't close, none of that happens. So when a door closes in your life, like don't look at it as like, woe is me. Look at it, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for something greater to come.
Right. I love it. So moving on just a little bit, you heeded your own advice recently. You started making some changes. You were kind of looking like Will Ferrell before, and I see a picture on your Instagram this past week, and you made a whole body and kind of lifestyle change. And you weren't in bad shape before. You weren't looking exactly like Will Ferrell. But tell me about that process, because before the quarantine, you looked a certain way, and probably not pleasing to what you normally are used to. And you decided to kind of heed your advice and really work out and change your body. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, for myself, I was out of shape, and it kind of just happened. Like it kind of built up, and never realized like, oh my gosh. And then I realized, wow, this is not who I am. My energy level is not as high. Like I was at 19 and a half body fat, which is, I mean, it's not bad. Like if you're at that, and when I'm saying this, it's nothing to do, like, it's not about image. It's not about let's see a 12 pack or anything like that, but it's about the mindset of knowing that if you have a goal, you can do something. So a couple of my NBA players challenged me. They're like, all right, let's see if we all can get to 9% through quarantine. Because everyone's looking at quarantine. They're like, oh, the gyms are closed. I'm going to be so out of shape. And that's a mental negative attitude already. And when you say negative things out loud, it's been proved 7 times more powerful than not even saying anything at all. Right. And it's crazy. So a lot of people are saying this, and I'm like, no way. We can take these 1% steps and reach your goals. So I said, hey, we're going to get down to 9%. Give me 15 weeks. And literally, I just made it a habit, a consistency. And it's easy when you're doing the same thing day after day, which I love my routine. I love this. Like I look forward to these type of I got this meal here. I got this meal here. I got this meal here. It tastes good. I'm not eating like broccoli and chicken breast, but it's just the understanding of it's what you put in your body is going to make the complete change.
And what was your routine? What were you eating on a day-to-day basis? What were you doing for workouts, things like that?
Yeah. So I would block off an hour to work out every day. I just literally had a kettlebell and some little weights and some bands. And I do that for an hour every day, just like a business meeting. I scheduled it into my schedule daily, figuring out where it's going to be. And
what time do you work out? What time do you like to work out?
Normally in the mornings. I like to get it out right away. Like I'll wake up. My morning routine is huge to me. I get up early, try to watch the sunrise. I'll spend time in prayer. The most important thing to me is my relationship with Christ, with God. And I'll spend 30 minutes in prayer, reading something in the Bible, journaling, and then really affirming myself. I think affirmations are huge. Like I said earlier, but I have them all over my fridge. I have them in my journal. Anywhere you walk in my apartment, there's some kind of positive affirmation. So subconsciously, I'm always putting I'm clearing that foggy mirror. Then I love to get a workout in. And I like to know that, hey, I got this done. If nothing else happens, if my day goes crazy the rest of the day, I know I got this in. And this is really important for the lifestyle I want to live. And plus, it just gives me a ton of energy, man. Like if I don't work out, I'm tired, I'm sluggish. So it sparks my energy in that. But eating wise, nutrition wise, it was about figuring out figuring out what worked best for my body. And I found out that, hey, if I eat carbs after a workout and not at night, it's gonna give it like better absorbability, and it's gonna use them better. And then I honestly, man, I just took it down. I like, this is what I'm normally eating. I'm just gonna slightly cut this down. I cut it down like 200 calories, 250 calories. Like, I'm not gonna worry about quick fixes. I'm just gonna do this, do it again, do it the next day, do it the next day. I found meals that I liked. Like, I'd have some great seasoned chicken that my wife cooked with Brussels sprouts and Japanese sweet potatoes. Like, I look forward to that kind of stuff. I'm going to smash that right after this call right here. I'd have a smoothie, a power smoothie, frozen bananas, blueberries, whey protein, Greek yogurt. I'd have some snacks. I could always have some kind of healthy snack at the end of the day, whether it's Magic Spoon cereal or some more yogurt and protein. Like, you make this enjoyable process, and you just literally, it's the mindset of like, hey, I'm going to win the day. Like, at the end of the day, I know that I got done what I wanted to get done. Like, I improved towards my goal, took a step towards my goal. And I was saying, hey, every day I'm going to look at the end of the day, did I win the day in the nutrition and workout battle? And if I say yes, then that's a great day. And I just kept stacking those days and compounding them and got down to 9%.
Wow, I love it. And are you still doing the intermittent fasting? I know, you've done that in the past. Is that something that you're still consistently doing?
I'm not. It just kind of depends. Some days will end up like that, but most days, like if I'm working out early in the morning, I'll wait maybe an hour after I work out, then I'll eat. So it'll be about 10 a.m. But I'm not really doing strict fasting or anything. There's good benefits to it, but there's also some negative benefits that I found in the past. And so I'm kind of just 4 meals a day, keep the calories a little bit slightly lower and consistent.
And what were some of those negative benefit or, negatives to the fasting?
Well, if you fast for too long and too many years, you will kill your testosterone if you're a male. I'm just going to put that out there full frontal. And that's an important thing. So that kind of happened to me, and that's just being really, really vulnerable right here with you. But that's it can mess up your hormones, really.
Right. Tell me about working in the NBA. You work for the Brooklyn Nets, and you're obviously you train a bunch of different NBA players. How'd you get your start, and then how'd you kind of work your way up?
Yeah, so I got my start by getting cut by that team in Spain. I realized that everything that I'd poured into playing, all the little small details to make myself the best I could be, was actually to be able to coach, to be able to help others. So I had a teammate in Greece, Aaron Baines. He's playing for the Suns now. Yep. And we started working together. He was kind of my first guy. And then some of his friends would come in, and then agents started getting involved. And then you know how the basketball world is kind of small and tight knit. And if you do a good job and you treat people well, then more comes. And I was just like, then I started my own shooting basketball camp, which been blessed to do some shooting camps with you in the past. Seems like a long time ago too, man, but gotta get those going. But anyways, I created some custom made basketballs. I was like, I'm going to be the best shooting coach I can possibly be. I'm going to get in the NBA. I'm going to be an NBA shooting coach. So I made these custom basketballs, had them sent from China over to the Oakland seaport. I was in Kansas City at the time, living on my parents' recliner chair. Hopped in my car, drove 29 hours out to the port, put these balls in my car, in my trunk, and just drove from city to city to city, anywhere where I had a connection of someone that I knew, like a high school coach or a youth coach, ask them to run a camp. And then it built from there. Genuine networks build to genuine networks. And I was doing camps throughout the country, internationally for about 5 years. And I got an email when I was in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia, said Brooklyn Nets shooting coach. And I thought it was spam. So I almost deleted it. I looked at it like, you have interest in being the Brooklyn Nets shooting coach. And a week later, I'm in Brooklyn coaching with the Nets. And then, like I said, like I thought it was going to be, like we went from 29th in 3-point shooting to 2nd in 3-point shooting the time I was there. Now I'm not taking credit for that. I mean, we had a lot of great shooting, very blessed to be able to have those numbers. So I'm thinking this is going to be a long-term extension. This is great. I'm in. And then a new staff comes in, and in the NBA, that's what happens. But I built up relationships with players throughout the NBA by really just pouring into them and just giving to them, and never trying to be that guy that's taking pictures with them or using anybody. I was always there to just give, and players respected that. And I showed up every single day. We're just willing to serve with consistency and high energy and joy and positivity every day, no matter what was going on. And players like that. They respect that. Like I've been able to work over 150 NBA players. I got 2 all-stars out here right now training in LA. And I'm not going to say like, hey, my ball handling drills are better than somebody's, or this drill is better than somebody else's, but it's the personality and the trust and the genuineness that you bring. And that's what's helped me be able to work with a lot of high-level NBA players.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on a lot of that stuff, because most of the time basketball has been around for, 100+ years, but the way you're doing it and the genuineness that you have is the reason why these people are coming to you. Because we could all do the same drills, but how is it delivered? How is it measured? And do you care? And that's very, very important. And you care about all the players that you work with. You want to see them reach their ultimate potential of making it to the NBA, or being a contributor on a team, or even the all-stars that you work with. So I just appreciate your approach. We've had the opportunity to work on several occasions, and I just like your detailedness. You can run a camp of 100 kids by yourself without needing any assistance, but that's the energy that you put out there in the world. And those kids that we've had at the camp still remember you to this day. And we kind of met in and I wouldn't say a down point in your life, but you were just working with Brooklyn. And now you're no longer working with them. And so we met at my school, and we just hit it off from the start. So tell me a little bit about how we met, what we've been doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And thank you for the kind words. I throw them right back to you, because this relationship that we've developed is based on the same type of things. We're both genuine. We both are people willing to give and willing to serve. And yeah, that was right after the Nets, I think it was, actually. And I was like, okay, here we go again. Like, for a while, you feel like I felt bad for myself. I was like, gosh, this cannot be happening. But I was like, hey, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to come back in the NBA. I'm going to train as many players as I can. And I mean, that's kind of where I was at that point, and being able to meet you and link with, just being around good people, like when you say you respect me for the energy and joy that I bring. Like when you think top flight basketball, I thought this is high level. Everybody's organized. They're on time. They're polite. They're respectful. They're working hard. They look good. They look professional. Like everything was tight knit. I was like, this program is it's a next level program. And that's a testimony to the culture that you have built. And we all build cultures around us, the people we surround ourselves with daily. And you've done a great job of surrounding yourself with positive people in your life, as have I. Like, that's a rule for me. I'm never going to have anybody negative in my life. There's just not enough time for it. I don't want to put up with it. And it's like you've done it. You've built that culture, and I've been blessed to be able to come work with your kids and help them develop as well. But man, we're brothers because of the outlook that we have in life, the perspective that we have in life, the want to help others improve.
Right. I think what's helped me a lot is putting people around me that help my weaknesses. The things that I'm not very good at. I like to put people in those positions to help me, whether they be my assistant coaches or, my vice presidents or, anything in our organizations. I think that's so important, the people that you have around you, and everybody feels like a family. I know when you do your workouts, you guys are going and having lunch after. You guys are hanging out. You're genuinely interested in the person and the people that they are. And so it does feel like a family, because if it was just transactional, you would go train the guys and then leave, but you're multidimensional in that respect, where it's like, No, we're going to break bread. I want to get to know you. I want to know your, your wife or your kids or whatever it may be. And that's one of the reasons why you're successful. So keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate that.
Thanks. Hey, I gotta touch on a point. You made an awesome point that I don't think many people talk too much about. It's so important. Is you build around the people in your relationships and your network that help out your weaknesses.
Sure.
And that's like weaknesses. I tell people when I speak to companies, weaknesses are a compliments wish list. Like we all have certain strengths that we're given. Like I said earlier, we're all given a gift. And we put people together in our lives that have other strengths. And that's what makes the ultimate team. Like you think about the Warriors or the Bulls back in the 90s, like they weren't all the superstars, but they were all the right pieces that complemented each other. And
Yes.
I call it building my golden 15. Like I have 15 people in my network, which is so network and networking are two completely different terms. Networking is the dirty LinkedIn type of term, what can you do for me? Your network is built through a genuine relationship and pouring into others. And this golden 15 is like, hey, I got somebody for business advice, for investing advice, for nutrition advice. And I know I can help them out as well, but it's all the compliments wish list put together. So that's a great point. Focus on your strength, add the people around you and your weaknesses.
I know I'm a big proponent of this, and so are you. You talk about it a lot on your podcast, pouring into others. So you want to finish it for me?
Yeah, man, pouring into others. And that's what the 1% mindset's about. You pour into yourself 1% so you can pour into others 1%. And just living in this service mode, like that's literally when breakthroughs in your life can happen. If you're all about the give and the what's for me, you're never going to, first of all, you're never going to feel content with anything you're doing. You're going to keep wanting to just strive to get more. But it's going to be just so much pressure built up inside you unless you're living in that service mode. And a tool that I give people that I talk to or my NBA players too is your hands. Your hands are always with you. Okay. So your hands are always with you. And you look at your hands and you see everything that they've gone through, the calluses on them, the grooves, everything. And you see that you have gone through all of this. You can make it through whatever situation you're in. These hands, they also wipe away the foggy mirror. So they clear the mirror, they clear your self-doubt. And these hands are also your service hands. These hands, when you open a door, if you get in this habit, it'll change the game. When you open a door and go into a room and you look at your hands and you say serve, it's going to put you in the mindset of, what can I do to help others in this room? It's not about me. The pressure's completely off you as well, but what can you do to help others? So even if we're in quarantine, if you're typing on the computer, look at your hands. If you make a phone call, look at your hands. These hands too, they're encouragement hands. Steve Nash led the NBA with high fives given every year he played, 239 high fives per game. 2-time MVP. He's the same height as me, probably the same athletic as me. I'm better looking, but he was given the high fives encouraging.
Debatable. Just kidding.
we all can do that. And so that's a powerful tool to live in that service mode, because when you live in that service mode, that's when true breakthroughs can happen in your own life.
I love that. That's something I'm going to take as well. Every time you open a door, how can I serve? The hands are service. That's a really cool, I guess, life skill. If any room you go in, I'm going to serve whoever's in here however I can. And whether that be being a listener or anything any of the little bit of knowledge that I might have, maybe I can pass on, but just being there. So that's really cool. Tell me about some of you're big on life hacks, so you take a cold shower, if you listen to your podcast, or what are some things that will help people, optimize.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the term, optimize. Hacks, that's what a lot of people would generally call it, but optimize, to live the best life you can possibly live. There's no shortcuts. Like we've talked about, it's the 1% steps to get there. There's no shortcuts. Sure. But I do love, a key is, like, I want to get great sleep every night. So I have a chili pad, which cools my body temperature, goes right under my mattress, can't feel it, cools your body temperature to whatever you want it to be. Ideal is 65 to 67 range. I like to have it even colder.
Tell me about that a little bit more. And I've listened, to the experts, but I actually like to be hot at night. I want to be almost to the point where I'm sweating. And I know that's not a great thing, but how can you take the coldness if if you're not really a cold person? I like being warm.
Well, I gotta ask you, do you sleep? Like, do you like sleeping and sweating, or you like
Sometimes,
going
like in the
flat?
winter time, for sure. I like to be warm. I like to be almost to the point where I wake up, go to the bathroom, and sweating a little bit. In the summertime, not as much, but I just like to be comfortable. But yeah.
Yeah, I challenge you to change it up. Get a bunch of covers, make yourself warm when you're in bed, but
Hmm.
turn the air down a little bit. And you
Okay.
will. And I track my sleep and I track everything. And sleeping in the cold has been proven to give you more deep sleep, more REM. Like, even if I'm not getting a lot of hours of sleep, I'm still
Hmm.
getting the equivalent of 8 hours of really regenerative, restful sleep. Like, there's nothing worse than waking up and just feeling like your eyes are just shot and you're already spent. It's like plugging in an iPhone. Let's say when you wake up and your iPhone's at 12%, you're just upset. It's just already a start to a bad day. So
Right.
same thing if you don't get that night's sleep.
Cool. So number one is sleep. Sleep in a cold area. Number two, any
Yeah.
other optimization life skills?
I love the cold shower. So I'm a 3-minute cold shower every morning, literally the first thing when I wake up. It wakes me up. It actually is a tool to start your metabolism and burn what's called brown adipose fat tissue, like the some of the excess fat. But I mean, it's not that big a game changer for that. I mean, that's all nutrition.
Yep.
And it's just a thing like, hey, I'm able to take this ice cold shower first thing in the morning. I can get through whatever comes my way today.
Gotcha. Any others that you can help with people out there?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the journaling and affirmation and just having like literally writing down your gratitude. I'm big on writing down goals and being super specific in goals. I know these aren't body composition or stuff like that type of just trendy hacks, but if you have a goal and you just say, hey, I want to be successful, or I want to get a really good job, probably won't. You don't know exactly what you want to do. Be super, super specific with it. Like, say, hey, I'm going to make this amount of money doing this on this day. Write it down, put it somewhere you see it 3 times per day, whether it's your fridge or right on your ceiling where you wake up and your eyes go to that very first thing, and
Hmm.
keep reaffirming yourself and what your goals are, and knowing that, hey, that is who you're going to be. You might not be that now, but you're taking steps towards that way. So I'm really big on the mindset hacks or mindset optimization, because the mindset optimization is the first piece that leads to the rest of the stuff. And then we could go
Right.
down rabbit holes on like nutritions and macros and all that kind of stuff. But if you get your mindset and a positive mindset every day that you're going to improve every day, and you're enjoying that, like, everything else will fall into place.
Right. Uh, so you grew up in a small town in Iowa, and at what point did you say, "Hey, I want to make it out of this area and do the things that you're doing now"? And what made that possible?
That's a good question. I don't know if there was really a time where I said, hey, I want to make it out of here, but it just kind of, my family moved and I saw there was different things in just my little area in Iowa. And I just had big dreams, man. I had big goals. I wanted to play in the NBA, and I was like, I wasn't going to let anybody tell me that I couldn't do it. So I think I kind of developed that mindset over time of there's going to be people that will tell you that you can't do something, but that's only because they have the self-doubt in themselves and they're trying to bring you down as well. So I developed that mindset early, and I guess that's kind of what carried me through it. And then being able to, like, I felt bad for myself after I got cut from that team in Spain when I poured everything into playing basketball. But it was that mindset. My mom said it while she was doing dishes and I was on the recliner chair. She said, when one door closes, 4 open. And she'll always say those kind of life things, but that one stuck with me, and that one really changed me. So I think that was a very pivotal moment in my life too.
Yeah. So I'm an NBA prospect. I'm coming out of college, and my agent sets me up with you to do our pre-draft stuff. Tell me what that NBA life optimization is for a new athlete. So you meet me for the first time. I'm supposed to entrust you with my skill development and my personal development. What is the process and how does it all work?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it varies. So if you're a pre-draft guy, we're not going to be with each other for that long. And it's just like a beauty pageant. I got to make you look great for NBA teams. I got to make you have the right answers and questions. So it's kind of like a microwave oven that we're throwing you in. But if you're a long-term development person, I use the acronym that I created called PACE. So the P stands for personality. First, I'm going to get to know you, everything about you, whether it's having you take the Enneagram test where I know everything about your personality and how you function, what makes you tick, what motivates you. I got to know you, and that you know that I know you, so you trust me. So
Right.
PACE, the P, personality, first, far the most important thing. Then A is the assess. Now I'm going to assess, okay, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? You're in the NBA, you've got something you do great. And it's, if you do one thing great, you can have a long career in the NBA. So we're going to assess how we can make you reach your full potential, whether it's really, really honing on your strength, like if you're Kyle Korver, we're just shooting threes off the move all the time. Or if it's someone who needs to add in something to not have a super weakness, so they're taken off the floor because they can't defend. So we'll assess what they need.
Right.
And the C is we're going to complete it. So we're going to put this plan together, and we're going to complete it together. We're going to complete it. We're going to correct. So it's kind of, the C is kind of like two C's: complete and correct. And we're going to go through this together, knowing that, hey, I'm going to have this plan for you in 3 years. Like I talked about the goals, the importance of the goals. This is where you're going to be. And if you have a tangible thing that you can look at and say, this is where I'm going to be, I know this guy's going with me to help me on those steps, then it's much easier than just going randomly and hoping that you get there. So we'll make those corrections after the assessment and the completion. And the E is the execution. Then it's just the day by day, relentless consistency, checking in on them after a game, whether they had a bad game, just trying to cheer them. That's where you really know their personality. But overall, like if I'm working with a player on a long-term basis, I'm going to use that acronym and then customize it to them, because nobody is the same. They have different driving factors, different motivations, and different goals, really.
Yeah. We hit it off originally because we're very similar in the fact that we've got multiple things going on, and we're able to manage all these buckets that we have in our life. What have you done to make sure that you're giving enough to all the areas that are very important to you?
Yeah, so that's huge. I mean, time is the most valuable asset that we don't have enough of. And it all comes down to essentialism. It's deciding what is essential for you. Like, what is most important for me? It's God and my wife. Like, that's going to come before anything. Whether it's another opportunity to grow my network or some kind of job that I'm called into, if that takes away from those two things, I'm not going to do it. And it's having the ability and the power in yourself, self-belief, to say no. Like, I get a lot of requests from people on Instagram or Twitter to say, hey, will you come on my podcast? Will you give me this time? Like, no, I won't. If I don't know you, like, why do I have to feel like I have to give you my time? Like, maybe that sounds selfish, but I'm going to protect my time and what's most important to me. And I always have a schedule, and I know that I have what I call my big three. So there's going to be 3 things that I want to accomplish that day. If I don't get there, if I don't get them done, that's okay. I'm right back on the horse again tomorrow, but I know that I'm going to focus on those things. So I really just am very selfish with my time. And if you're not selfish with your time, you don't know what, like, I'll do certain things for free, and I'll do certain things to be paid, but I always know what's what. And if it's free, it's for friends, but I'm not just like, you have to know your value, and you have to really just protect your time.
Right. Speaking of that, there's a lot of trainers that are coming up. And so a lot of times they'll have to do it for free in the beginning, right? With Aaron Baines, I don't know if he's paying you from the beginning, but a lot of times how you get your start is, I'm going to do really well to earn some value, and then I can start charging. What was that process like for you? At what point were you able to say, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I put my craft, I put my time in the unseen hours, all of that. And how were you able to monetize it?
7, 8 years in before I started monetizing on NBA players. Still hardly do, man.
Say
So if
that
you're out
again.
there,
Say that again to everybody out there listening.
yeah, 7 to 8 years before I did. And honestly, like maybe 5% of my income comes from NBA players. It's not like if you're trying to be an NBA trainer, make a ton of money, you're kidding yourself. It's not gonna, I mean that, but you work with those players so that you can learn from them, learn from the best, be around the best, and then go help share that with other people. And that's what I've done to develop the basketball camps. And now through working with these players, I've developed these type of mindsets to write this book, to go speak to companies by working with the top NBA players. Yeah, these salespeople at these companies, they want to know what drives them, motivates them. So it's about, I mean, with NBA players, it's not about, hey, they make $18 million, so they're going to give you $1 million of it. Never going to happen.
Right. Yeah. And that's a misnomer. A lot of people don't really know that. And I know a lot of NBA trainers like yourself, and that's a real reality. And so being able to monetize that in that area only, you're going to have to do something else, you know? So you talked about doing keynotes for businesses. Is there a specific guideline, or everybody's going to be different depending on the needs of the client?
Well, I mean, I speak about high performance and developing unshakable confidence. So those are kind of my things. I'm the MBA optimization guy that works with the highest level players on the most pressure packed field that there is. So it's all going to center kind of around that, but it depends. I mean, it depends. Like I've given talks to companies and they're talking about how do you get through this crisis and not be just surviving, but thriving. And I'll talk about pivoting this crisis for opportunity, or it's talk about the new age of leadership, the NBA coaches that have been able to be around, and how it's not just, hey, tell you what to do, but it's show you what to do. Because leaders at the end of the day, they don't want to lead forever. They want to lead others to lead others. So it just depends what the company is about, who I'm speaking to, my audience. My core message is the same, but then I'll cater it to exactly what those people need.
Right. What's the hardest part about giving those keynotes? You know, you have a limited time to get a message across, and you know, you want to make sure that it's like doing a documentary. There's so much information that you can give them, but you want to give them the best of the information. What's been the hardest part for you when you give those keynotes?
Honestly, I enjoy it so much. I don't think there's a hard part to it, but people will say the preparation in it. A lot of people will go up there and then maybe they practice it once or twice. Before I did my first talk in front of a huge company, I practiced probably 150 times, went through that thing. Like there is no substitution for preparation. A lot of people will just want to go up there and talk and think you can just wing it. There's no, like you will fall on your face if you try to do that. So the key to anything is preparation.
Right. Tell me about, and I know we got to get going here, but tell me a little bit about the writing process to writing a book. For those that may not know, what goes into it? What are you thinking about? You know, how many revisions are going on? Just the entire process for writing a book.
Absolutely. And I encourage everyone to write a book. If you have a passion that you want to write a book, do it. I mean, I had stories to tell. I had these mindsets that I knew that worked for me, and I wanted to get it out there. And I just looked at it like a workout. And every day I carved out an hour, and I was on a walking treadmill while I was typing. And if I wrote 2 words, that was it. If I wrote 2 pages, that was it. 20 pages, whatever it might be. I just made it like a workout, that consistency. And it really didn't take that long to write, to be honest. And I'm almost done with book number 2 that I've got in the process that we're pitching to publishers. And it's just an enjoyable thing. It's not, if you look at it as one big book, that's overwhelming and daunting. But if you take it in those 1% steps, anybody can do it. Now the editing process is another beast. I probably went through Pivot and Go 100 times. My editor's gone through it. My publishers have gone through it. That took a long time, but still, it's a labor of love.
And do you have to do the audiobook as well, or is somebody else reading the audio version?
I'm not that big time yet. I already read it. 16 hours. Took me 16 hours to read through your book. I'll tell you what, man. Reading your own writing might be the hardest thing to do sometimes.
Right. So what I was saying is, do you have to do an audio version as well? Or?
Already did. It's already done. Yeah.
Oh, you.
On
okay,
August 4th. Audio, ebook, all that stuff. August 4th.
Wow, that's so cool, man. Well, I just appreciate you for coming on. I know your time is valuable, especially with this little book tour that you're on for all these podcasts. But tell everybody where they can follow you. Tell everybody where they can get the book. Where can they be
Yeah.
inspired? You send me an email every single day, and I get it in my inbox early in the morning. And usually when I'm having my coffee, I didn't drink coffee much until I met you, by the way. Oh, and kids did that for kids did
There you
that to
go.
me
There
too.
you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the plugs you
Yeah.
want right now.
Yeah, for sure. So the book is Pivot and Go. It's on Amazon, pre-sale right now. Website, davidnurse.com. Podcast, the 1% Podcast. Social media, Instagram and Twitter is David Nurse NBA. I have a 1%er course also that's on the website, and I'm in California. So if you want to come hang out, good food spots, that's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. I'll chat with you soon. And
Appreciate you, Chris.
let's do it again sometime.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
All right, brother.
Thank you for listening to the Beyond the Buckets podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and share the show with your friends. And until next time, take care.